Welcome to Tenacity with Sonia C., the podcast where entrepreneurs, founders, and ambitious professionals come to learn from those who have walked the path, navigating challenges and achieving success. Whether it's thriving in business, pivoting, scaling for growth, fundraising, or finding work-life balance, dealing with loneliness, adversity, or overcoming personal struggles. Our guests share the insights and strategies that have empowered them to level up. I'm your host, Sonia, and let's get started. My guest today is Erica Newbert. Erica is a fellow breast cancer survivor, author, and leader. Erica's book, The Mastectomy I Always Wanted, offers an honest and vulnerable look into the mastectomy journey. She's also the leader of the Pinky Swear Foundation, a national non-for-profit supporting families with children battling cancer. Today, we're going to talk about facing fear, self-advocacy, choosing the harder path, and the power to seeing the future beyond a diagnosis. Erica's mission is to give women the same hope and confidence she once received. And I can't wait for you to hear her story. Hi, Erica. How are you today?
I am doing great. Thanks, and great to see you.
Yeah, you too. I'm so excited to have a fellow breast cancer survivor to have a conversation with. I always love these because not because they're great, but because I love the conversation that it brings up and seeing all the different points of views and things that women and men go through in their breast cancer journey. And I just think it's fascinating. So thank you so much for joining me today.
Yeah, I mean, I think everyone is unique, but we all have a common thread. And everyone, men or women, I think knows either somebody affected by cancer or goes through the journey themselves.
Yeah. So let's start with can you take us back to the moment when you were diagnosed with breast cancer and what emotions did you experience and how did you begin processing the reality of facing your journey with breast cancer?
I was actually at work and I had had a biopsy earlier in the week and I'd been waiting, that anxious feeling for
Mm-hmm.
the phone call from the doctor. Sure enough, 4 o'clock on a Friday, my phone rings. And I have to dash out of the meeting. I don't tell anybody why I'm running out. And as soon as I picked up the phone, the physician said, are you sitting down and do you have a pen? Right. That's not what you want to hear at the start of
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
And, spoiler alert, it was a breast cancer. And I didn't hear much after that. I mean, your mind suddenly goes into so many different emotions. And
Yeah.
particularly what was challenging for me was number one, I lost my mother to breast cancer. So
Oh,
already I had seen the future, right? Or what I
yeah.
perceived at the time to be the future. And secondly, I had been worried about breast cancer ever since she passed away. And so all I could think about was, my family, my kids, and my work, and how I was going to get through it. Was this going to end my life? Is this the beginning of the
Yeah.
end? All of the fears just came rushing in like you were drinking from a fire hose. And so I wrote down all the words on the piece of paper, right, that the doctor told me to write down. But, it didn't really sink in for quite some time.
So you decided to have a mastectomy, correct?
Yeah,
Did you have
that
a double or a single?
I decided with a double. And,
I did a double too.
oh, hashtag twin, right?
But I went through the reconstruction process. Did you go through that?
Yes. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ugh,
I
that was
mean,
not fun.
no, it was not fun, but I don't know about you. I always joke about this. I've actually never been happier with it, right? I have reconstructed fake breasts. They look real.
I hate mine.
Do
They
you
don't look
really?
real. I call them my two sacks of potatoes.
Oh my goodness.
I had four surgeries for reconstruction and it's still not right. I'm supposed to have a fifth, but I put it off because I just couldn't do any more surgeries.
Okay, that is challenging. And I am sorry to hear that
Yeah,
because,
no, it's the everybody's so different. I'm
yeah,
shocked to hear you say that. So, how many surgeries did you have for reconstruction?
I had the original double mastectomy that went flat and put expanders in. And then I had a second surgery about 4 months later to replace the expanders with the actual long-term implant. So I only had the
You
two surgeries.
you only had the expanders for 4 months?
Yeah, about 4 or 5 months.
Oh wow. I had mine for 8 months.
Oh my gosh. Okay. I feel like after the show, we've got to exchange like plastic surgeons, and I'm going to support you on this one.
Yeah.
I want to
Well,
get you to love yours. I want to get you to love yours. I love mine now.
I have such a terrible relationship with mine. Well, I had my first mastectomy. I did only one first, and I
Got
kept
it.
the second one
Yep.
because my doctors just wanted to get rid of the cancer, and they were
Yep.
like, "Let's save the skin from the second one." And I was like, "Okay." I just followed their advice. So for like 6 months, I had only one breast. And then when I went in to get the second mastectomy, that's when they started the reconstruction. And I came out of that with the tissue expanders. And I had skin removed from my back. So I had a skin graft to reconstruct the first mastectomy because all the skin was gone and they couldn't reuse that.
Yeah.
And then I had to go back. So I had 4 surgeries altogether. Yeah.
That's a lot. And for
Mm-hmm.
all of you out there, like, let's give a special shout out to you because that you went through a lot. Like, that's significant. Yeah, I mean, I think,
Yeah.
part, and maybe I'm going to back up a little bit to give you a little bit of freedom from this. Part of the reason I love them, yes, I think
I
mine,
was just going to ask you, why do you love them?
yeah, I do. Mine do look real, and I wish that for you. I really do. Um, but also, and I hope this is your experience, I now have no fears of getting breast cancer again. Like I don't have a fear of a relapse.
Mm,
You and I both don't have real breasts, so we can't have real breast cancer anymore. I mean, of course, I
yeah.
think there's like some really microscopic percentages that it recurs, but the freedom from fear has been
Yeah.
the thing that I value the most based on what I saw from my mother's journey, right?
Mm.
So mentioned that she did pass away. She did not have a double mastectomy. She didn't even have a single. She
Oh,
just
wow.
started off with a lumpectomy, and sure enough, it came back, and it came back aggressively, and it came back over and over and over
Yeah.
again.
Honestly, I'm not a doctor and like
Yeah,
I don't know, but
yeah,
all the women that I personally know that had a lumpectomy had breast cancer come back.
yes,
Well,
right.
so why do they give that as an option? Like,
I
is it just coincidence?
know. This is, I mean, I'll be honest, this is something that I've always wanted to talk about
Okay.
is that I have seen that experience as well. And so when I get a friend or a friend of a friend who calls me and says, "What should I do? Should I choose the lumpectomy or the
No.
mastectomy?" I'm like, "Do
Get
them
it out.
all. Get it out. Get it out."
I
Because it's
know.
it's not only, it is like, yes, there are many doctors that will say, and again, I am not a doctor. I'm not a doctor.
Yep. No.
But they will say, lumpectomy is just good enough. And
Mm.
I am not so sure because
Yeah.
I've seen a lot of relapses in my time.
Yeah.
And that's where my mental game was. Like
Yeah. If
my
you get it
mental
out,
game.
have some security in your thought that you did everything you possibly could. Like I have a friend who was stage 3 and she had a lumpectomy and now she's living with stage 4. They've been able to control it. It went into her spine.
Oh,
But what they
oh,
did was obviously it's medical cement. I don't know the proper terminology for it, but basically they put like this cement in in different areas of her spine to sort of keep the cancer isolated from spreading. So she's
wow.
living with breast cancer
Okay.
in her spine, but it's been like over 10 years for her. But I'm like, if she was stage 3, why was a lumpectomy the way to go? And why
Right.
didn't her doctors like just tell her, get this crap out?
Get it out. Get it out. It's like, if you had cancer in your leg and they told you to amputate it, like you would do it.
Yeah.
And so, I think there's so many discussions we can have about breasts and femininity
Yes. Oh my goodness.
and the choices that, we make about our bodies and things like that. But for me, I loved not having fear in my mind,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
The clarity of and the control I could have over my own body, my own decisions, and the freedom from fear.
What
What?
stage were you?
So I was actually a really early stage. They called it stage 0.
Okay.
where it was in my ducts, but it had not spread outside. Then
So your
so
lymph nodes were clean.
yes,
Okay.
yep, yep. The margins are clearing. Um, and that's still at that early stage, I still wanted the double mastectomy.
Yeah.
I really wanted it because I'd seen what happened to my mom,
Yeah.
and she was diagnosed at stage one, and they
Yeah.
thought,
I was
oh,
stage
we'll be,
one.
yeah. I'm so glad
Yeah.
you had the mastectomy. I'm so glad. I'm
Yeah.
so glad.
Oh yeah. It was never like an afterthought for me. Like the minute I found out I had breast cancer, I was always like I'm having a double. And when I went to see my doctor, I'm like I want a double mastectomy and she's like, "Whoa, whoa, whoa, take it easy. Calm down. Let's just talk about this for a second." I'm like, "Nope. Get them out. I want these things out of my body." Cuz
Well, I
at the
mean, yeah,
time, all I could think about was these things are trying to kill me,
yeah,
right?
yes,
Yeah.
yeah. Soul sister, hashtag soul sister on this one. Yeah, because and I think, I wonder if it's just both being powerful, strong women, or if it is just we're both seeing the long term. That's what I think
Mm,
about is um, I took short term pain, and so did you. Well, I mean, you
yeah.
had four surgeries, so I wouldn't say super short, but you're looking at a lifetime now. You're
Yeah.
looking at an entire lifetime. So it's the really long game that, the long vision for
Yeah.
your life that you were thinking about.
For sure, for sure. And I had no hesitations in being flat, or obviously my doctor at the time I was 38 when I got diagnosed. So
That's
my
young.
doctor was like, "You're young, like do the reconstruction. Why would you just go flat?" I'm like, "Okay." The only thing about the double mastectomy that I was really disappointed about or sad or upset, I don't know. I had very mixed emotions about it because I didn't know this was going to happen. I did not know that I was going to lose my nipples.
Oh,
And then I woke up and I realized, oh crap. I don't know why I never just thought about it, right? It's part of your reproductive system, so it's got to go. And I was devastated by that.
yeah.
Because I'm like,
Yeah.
because I don't know. Again, we could talk about femininity, but that makes it feel like now I feel like an alien. I never had the tattoo done. I'm still sort of processing that. I'm like, nope, I don't want the tattoo. I refuse to get it because I'm a little bitter. But so I feel like a bit of an alien
Yeah. Yeah.
type of deal. But yeah, that was the only thing about the whole thing that like kind of shocked me.
Yeah. I'm going to send you a copy of my book
Yes.
because,
Okay. But let's talk about your book, right?
yeah.
So you went through this whole journey and then you wrote the book, The Mastectomy I Always Wanted, which is not something that you would hear people normally say. So, you're very authentic and vulnerable. What inspired you to write this book, and what key message do you want women facing mastectomies to take it away from it?
Yeah. Well, this is how I open up the book, and this is what truly inspired me is that
Mm,
actually I told you I found out at work, right?
yeah.
And so a week later, I had to tell my team that I was going to be out for several weeks. And after the meeting, a woman followed me out of the conference room and she pulled me aside. She was brand new to our team and brand new to the office. And she said, and she whispered, I've had the same surgery. I've had the double mastectomy. Do you want to see what it looks like today? And again, I am a leader of this organization. I am the CEO. This is a new
Wow.
employee. And I was like, oh,
Yes, I do.
exactly. Yes, I do. Right. Like I'm toying with like professionalism versus my own personal desire to like
Yeah.
see the future. So I say yes. And so we go off in like to the far corners of the office into the women's bathroom, lock the door. She takes off her shirt and she shows me. And I will be honest, her breast looks so real. And that's what
Really?
I wish for you too. And I was like, are you for reals? And she had the nipple tattoos. She had had surgery 5 years ago. I couldn't see her scars. And I was like, oh
Oh,
my God, thank you so, so much. Because I was so focused on what you've experienced is that like the shock of losing your nipples, like the flat chested, the surgery, the scars,
the
the
scars.
stitches.
Yeah.
And I was freaking out. I felt so much peace by being like, okay,
Wow.
I'm going to get through this and I know what's going to look like in 5 years. Again, it's that long term vision. And
Mm-hmm.
so that's what inspired me to write, not in that exact moment. In that exact moment, I was still staring down a mastectomy. But a few years later, I realized that was super powerful. And so during my journey, I actually took photos of the process before, during, and after surgery.
Mm-hmm.
And so up through the nipple tattoos, and I wanted them to share it with more women because these are photos you cannot see on the internet, right? Like
Yeah.
not appropriate, can't put them on social. And I also just wanted to normalize the conversation, normalize the feelings, and actually have the conversation you and I are having right now,
Mm-hmm.
right? That decision
Yeah.
between a mastectomy and a lumpectomy, a lot of times when someone's newly diagnosed, they don't know someone to have that conversation with.
Yeah.
I wanted to be that like trusted friend that you could like walk beside you and like also show you what it's going to feel like
Yeah.
and go through so I'm extremely vulnerable in this book. Like I said, I am the CEO of a national organization, and you can find photos of my chest and my mastectomy and every day.
Mm.
I felt so drawn to normalize that conversation and to let women know this is the message I want to say. You are not alone. You are
I,
not alone.
yeah, I love what you're saying. You've made a couple points. So, like, you wrote the book because you want other women to sort of have what you had, which was like from the day you found out, you had someone who had been through it and sort of showed it to you. And I think that's such a good point because, like, I always have this conversation and I'm like, if I knew then what I know now, I would have made very different decisions. And after my journey was sort of, I had all the surgeries and stuff. I joined a non for profit as a breast cancer ambassador for an organization. And they had all these breast cancer survivors who were ambassadors. And we would have lunches and get together. And we were sharing each other's journey. And I found myself being the only one who had had a bad experience with reconstruction. Now,
Oh,
not all the women went through reconstruction. One only had a prosthetic. Another one had a lumpectomy and just kept it that way. So everyone's journey is different. But then this was years after one of the ladies was like, I had reconstruction. Do you want to see what I look like? And we were at a restaurant and she took me to the bathroom. And oh, because she also wanted to show me the 3D tattoo of the nipple. Because she's like, oh,
yeah.
you should totally do it. Go to my guy. I'll show you what it looks like. So she showed me her chest. And I'm like, if even now I've gone to my family doctor and I'm like, I really need to fix this because like I'm 590 cc's. I'm massive.
Oh my
And
gosh, that's a lot.
my, yeah, and one of my tissue expanders sort of shifted and it made like kind of like a air bubble. So I don't have an air bubble, but like one of them is very high and the other one is more underneath the armpit. So they're not even one, even though they're both 590 cc's, the original one that I had removed is just like really up high. I could,
I got you.
I call it my little table. I could put stuff on top of it.
I can imagine. Yeah.
Right. So I think part of it was also not knowing that I could have asked for a different surgeon,
Yeah,
a different reconstruction surgeon
absolutely.
after, because I wasn't necessarily like, I knew that like, hey, they're gonna do the best they can, but I should have known when I was talking to her and she wouldn't look at me in the eye. She looked at the ground that maybe she wasn't listening. I didn't know at the time, right? So now I know that like if I decide to go in and do a fifth, I'm not gonna go with the same surgeon. I need to go and find someone else. But that was me, COVID happened and then I couldn't do any more surgeries. And it's given me time to have conversations with people and learn because at the time I was just so stuck in it, right? And I think that speaks to your point. Like you don't know other people who might have had it, who can you can reach out to and show you their chest and have that conversation, right? But also know that there's all these different journeys that you're going to go through, but the outcome doesn't have to be negative, right?
Absolutely. And isn't it so funny that both you and I have had somebody who take us took us into a bathroom to show us their chest, right?
I think that's what survivors do. We're like, don't worry, let
Don't
me
worry
show you
about it,
mine.
right? It's like this secret club. And we're sharing it in behind closed doors. I mean, rightfully behind closed doors.
Yeah.
But that was the intention of the book, is like to bring it to the light, to bring it to like, it's okay to share these things. And I want to share it with more people. So it's not just one-on-one in bathrooms, it's anybody who needs it. And that was really the vision.
Yeah. So tell me a little bit about the Pinky Swear Foundation, because that's also an organization that you started for children who have cancer, correct?
Correct. Yeah. So isn't it so funny that I feel like I'm surrounded by cancer at home and at work, right?
Mm,
It is kind of, people ask me sometimes, like, how do I get through the day? Because so Pinky Swear Foundation, it was started because there was a 9-year-old boy who was diagnosed with bone cancer in his leg. And before he passed away, he gave away his entire life savings to other kids on the
oh,
cancer floor in the hospital. And he loved that experience of giving, right? Just, that joy that you feel when you give to others. And he said to his dad later that evening, Dad, that was awesome. I can't wait to do it next year. Now,
oh,
unfortunately, fortunately, this little boy was very, very, very sick. And his dad had to say to him, I'm sorry, buddy. I don't think you're going to be here next year. Right? Can you believe having a dad have to say that? And then this 9-year-old boy looks up at his dad and he says, Okay, Dad, make me a pinky swear promise that you will keep doing this after I'm gone.
oh,
So I'm not the founder, but I know that parent very well. After their son passed away, they started this foundation called the Pinky Swear Foundation. And today we do what Mitch did, that little 9-year-old boy. We provide financial support to families nationwide when their child's in treatment.
I
And
love
so
it.
I live and breathe this work, but it is kind of unique that
Yeah.
I manage cancer at home and I manage cancer at work.
And how are you now with your treatment and your life? How is life after breast cancer for you?
Yeah, you know, I think something you had said earlier was really interesting. I too found myself really struggling mentally and emotionally after after all of the surgeries,
Yeah.
after all of the sort of the focus on the physical, and people, we all moved on, but I hadn't,
Yeah.
mentally and emotionally. And so I did actually end up with some mental health therapy because I was afraid. I was so afraid of relapse. And I
Mm-hmm.
worked through and I found some tools on that. And, for me, it's so interesting that you say about your nipple tattoos. I also, I didn't want them at first. I didn't want to do the nipple tattoos. Um, but I talked to my therapist, and that was going to be the closure for me. When I felt ready to move on, I was going to get the nipple
Mm.
tattoos and celebrate. And that's what I did. I actually found a nipple tattoo artist. I want to recommend this person who was like featured in People magazine. And I was like, I want to go to that guy. Like, I'm going to make
Okay.
this like, I'm going to make it a celebration of the end. But my
Mm.
end didn't come for many years later because I did
Mm-hmm.
want to work through those emotions first. So today I'm doing great. I've got some lovely nipple tattoos that are 3D, so they look good. You can see them in the book. You can see them like as I'm meeting with the tattoo artist and all the things. Um, but yeah, no, I've now shifted and focused outward and really trying to support others. I'm trying to be a listener to
Mm-hmm.
others and witnessing their journeys, and also hopefully inspiring some folks to let them know again, you are not alone, and it's going to be okay.
If you could go back to yourself that day that you found out, what would you tell yourself?
Oh man, that's an excellent question. Oh, I probably would have actually put my arm around myself, given myself a really big hug, and said that it's going to be okay. And that's,
Yeah.
I think, you know, that's what I wanted someone to tell me. I wanted to tell myself. And thank you for that question because I think I can go back and do that for her.
Yeah. Beyond your personal journey, you lead the Pinky Swear Foundation, supporting families and children. But how has your own experience with cancer shaped your leadership and mission with the non-for-profit, with the
Mm,
not-for-profit?
yeah. I would say I'm incredibly more compassionate and I'm way more open to vulnerability. It's really hard to be a leader um, and share your own struggles, to share your own challenges, because you want to be seen as, strong and steady. And but I have found that I've become a better leader, and I've become probably more effective when I am stepping into that vulnerability and sharing
Yeah.
all of the struggles. And that was really eye opening for me. I thought I had to hide it. I thought I had to not pretend that I wasn't struggling. But when I let people in and let everyone support me on the team, I actually, things got better.
I love when survivors or people going through it, decide to do something and share and be vulnerable. And like, I think that is the best way. Like, if someone's going to listen to you, you went through it versus listen to you and you haven't gone through it, right? Like, who do I want to listen to? Someone who, just like you with the woman at work, right?
Right.
It's a
Yeah.
perfect example.
Yeah. And, so, yeah, I think actually my own cancer experience has made me a better leader, I would say. And
Yeah.
I would say it's the club you never want to join, but when you're there, you do meet some really great people.
Yeah. I mean, it's also really hard. Well, for me, I don't know for you, but for me, it was really hard to like go through this and then just go back to regular life. I
Yes.
just couldn't do it. There was something in me that had changed. How was that for you?
Oh, 100%. And you asked me, what would I go back and tell my prior self is that this will actually make you stronger and more resilient. And so
Yeah.
I will say that, there's a lot less things that scare me now, right? There's a lot of things when you're running a business or a nonprofit that the first time you go through it, you're like, oh, that's hard and that's scary. There's fewer
Mm,
things that scare me because you understand when you go through a cancer journey that you have far more strength and resilience than you ever realized. And some of life's small problems also fade away a little bit
yeah.
too, right? I mean, I
And
think it's, in business, you can
yeah.
get caught up in the little things. I tend to have a longer range perspective on challenges, which there
Mm.
always are.
And I think also a lot of trust has to happen because you're now putting your body in the hands of doctors and hoping for the best because you lose complete control of your body at that point, right?
100%. Oh gosh, that is trust and letting go of control. Another,
Yeah.
another strong leadership lessons there too.
Yeah.
100%.
I
Yeah.
mean, in my work life, I was a bit of a control freak. I used to be one of those people that thought that if I want things to get done right, I got to do it myself, right? And then I went through this journey and I'm like, crap, like I have to have all these surgeries. I need to take time off and my perception on working with my team and what I thought they couldn't do was completely wrong. And now all of a sudden I have to reach out and I have to trust them to do the things that they had originally been hired for that I was just being a control freak over. But like everyone stepped up and I realized then that I don't have to do everything.
Yes. And isn't that such a freeing revelation?
Yeah.
Right. And I agree with you. I feel like we're soul sisters. I might be still recovering as a control freak too. It's really hard to give
Yeah.
out that control, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I actually, interestingly, I did struggle a lot with the fact that I was, under anesthesia for 12 hours. I was like, what did they do with my body? Right? Like what? Well, I just laid there, and so I had to talk to my therapist about that. And, and then, and the doctors and therapists were like, why are you focusing on that? I'm like, it's a lack of control. But I then again, coming on the other side and working through that, it makes me a better leader now because I can let go of some of that control. And I understand, that's why you hire a team. That's why
Yeah.
people are working with you. Yeah.
Yeah. So w- we've talked about a lot, but what was your biggest lesson that you took away from that experience?
Mm. The other one I would say is trust the process.
Mm,
Right. There were times, but even though, I sort of now I can tell you that I had this woman who showed me the end, and showed me what it would look like in 5 years. But I will tell you, there were some really dark days in the first beginning, and people were just saying, trust me, trust me, trust me, it's going to get better. And I
mm-hmm.
had a hard time doing that, But until I started to learn to trust and trust the process, trust others, I think that was the greatest lesson. And I'm really glad we talked about how much trust improves over time and how much you get to trust others.
Okay, that's awesome. Well, we're coming up on time, but before we finish all that, is there anything that you would want to share with fellow breast cancer survivors or women that are going through it and they're listening to this podcast during Breast Cancer Awareness Month? What is the one thing that you want to share?
I think the other lesson is never give up. Never, ever, ever give up. There's always another choice, and there's always another decision, and there's always one more step forward that you can take. The title of my book was The Mastectomy I Always Wanted. And people also say, why did you name it that way? Because I reframed the decision to have a mastectomy as my choice. It
Mm,
wasn't my punishment, it was my choice. And when you have
mm,
that empowering choice, then you can get back some of that control.
mm-hmm. So
So
where can we find your book?
yes, it is on Amazon. And just search under the mastectomy I always wanted, or frankly, there's not many books under mastectomy. You can find me easily on Amazon or on my website, which is my full name, ericanewbertcampbell.com.
Awesome. Well, Erica, I had such a lovely time having you on the show today. This is such a nice conversation. I just feel like, yeah, I feel like you and I have a connection, and I'd love to stay in touch and continue this conversation.
Absolutely. I'm going to send you one of my books, and you can see all of the journey yourself too.
I will love that. Yeah. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much too.
Thank you, Erica, for sharing your journey with us today. It's not easy to be vulnerable and talk so openly about breast cancer. One of the biggest takeaways from today is that fear doesn't have to define our journey. We can face it head on, advocate for ourselves, and come out stronger on the other side. Whether you or someone you love is going through breast cancer diagnosis, know that you are not alone. And that's a wrap. To our listeners, thank you for joining me on this journey of learning, growth, and inspiration. Don't forget to subscribe to this podcast on your favorite platform and connect with our community on social media. I'd love to hear your feedback, so leave a review and let me know what topics you'd want to explore in future episodes. Remember, the future belongs to those who embrace challenges, adapt with tenacity, and keep pushing forward. Keep growing, keep pivoting, and most importantly, stay tenacious in your pursuits. Thank you for tuning in, and I look forward to bringing you more insightful conversations in our upcoming episodes. This is Sonia signing off, but as always, keep chasing your dreams with tenacity.